name is Tiffany Clark, and this is my story. Well, to get started, I'm from Arkansas. I grew up in a small town called Grady, Arkansas. My mom has 10 children. I am number 9 out of those 10 children. And it's 3 girls. 3 girls. So I'm the baby girl of the family. We grew up, we didn't have much, but my mom did the best she knew how to raise us without a father. I grew up not knowing who my father was, my biological father. I also overcame molestation. I was molested by a person in my family, and then someone that was close, like a family friend. But I overcame that. I overcame bullying through school. I went through so much. My teenage years, I became promiscuous. I was drawn to married men. I was sleeping with married men. God delivered me from that. I overcome so much in my life as a adolescent, as a teenager, as a young woman of God. But God did place, when I was about 15 to 16 years old, he placed my father, who's my godfather now, present today, my godparents in my life. And I kind of started to get back on track, even though I was still kind of going left a little bit. God still showed me grace and mercy throughout my years, and he's delivered me from so many things. I could go on and on and on. So fast forward till I was about 20, probably 22, 23, I met my husband that I'm married to now. We've been married 12 years coming up this year. And I just got to a point in life where I was tired of being abused, tired of being misused, tired of always trying to prove myself to people that I am worthy of, to be treated just with respect, and to be treated, with love, and to get the same love that I would give others. I wanted them to show me that same love. So I got tired. I surrendered my life to God. I moved to Texas with my husband. He wasn't my husband at the time, but we both moved here to better our lives. And I started to seek God. I started to pray more. I started to fast more. And God just gradually turned my life around. The things that I used to do, I did not have the desire to do those things anymore. So fast forward, me and my husband, we get married. Everything's going good. Okay, we talk about having children. We tried for a couple of years, probably about 2 or 3 years. We tried, nothing happened. So we went to the doctor. I was diagnosed with polycystic ovarian syndrome. When I was younger, I was diagnosed with endometriosis as well. So I've always struggled with infertility, even when I was younger, in my younger ages, in my teenage ages. I've always struggled with having female issues, let's say that. So we went to the doctors. I've been to over probably 20, I know over 10 doctors. And they diagnosed me with those things. Then we finally got pregnant. Finally got pregnant. It was we found out October of 2011. Yeah, October of 2013. October of 2013, you guys. Lord have mercy. October of 2013, we found out we were pregnant. We were so excited. Our first baby. Everything's going fine. I was a little fatigued. I was a little tired. So I was laying in the bed. I remember this day. I will never forget it. I was laying in the bed. I was crampy a little bit. I'm just thinking it's the normal growing pains of, being pregnant. I was about 14 weeks pregnant. Johnny was getting ready. My husband, Johnny, he was getting ready to go to work. He went to work. So I said, I'm going to rest today. I'm not going to work. I was working from home. So I'm laying in the bed, and I started cramping. And then I went to the restroom, and that's when my water broke. So my water broke. I just kept telling God, I was like, no, God, no. This cannot be happening. This cannot be happening. I called my sister first, Janice. She didn't answer. So then I called one of my other friend girls, She was like, call the ambulance. But then I called Johnny. He had just left, so he came back. And I called the hospital. They say, are you sure it's your water? Yes, ma'am. I didn't pee on myself. I'm sure it's my water. The water broke. So we went to the hospital, you know, and we didn't really, it was just going so fast. I really couldn't process it all. We get to the hospital, you know, they say they can't do anything. They can't stop the birth. I was going to have to give birth to the baby Jalen. So we gave birth to baby Jalen. But even in that moment, God was still with us. Even in that moment, his ways are not our ways. His thoughts are not our thoughts. He thinks higher than we do. And I find that to be a true statement. I find that he will never leave us nor forsake us, because even in that moment, he was still with us in the hospital. We got the president of the hospital came by the room. It was the nurses that I had was so compassionate for me. Our pastor and first lady at that time, they were there. They helped us tremendously. So they were there as well. And we went through the process. You know, I had the baby. I really just couldn't, I was just broken at that state. I was too broken to really process on what God was doing, where he was taking us. But we did get through that first miscarriage. We had the ceremony, the memorial for the baby. We were blessed doing that. God's hand was just all in that situation. But so I thank God for keeping us through that situation. So fast forward, we get over that miscarriage, right? We strengthen God. We trust God. God said, do you trust me? We trusted him. You know, we prayed and fasted to get pregnant again. We get pregnant again. I believe it was October of 2015. We get pregnant again. We're excited. Me and my goddaughter, we was going to the ultrasound. We could see the baby moving on the ultrasound. It's turning flips. It's going. You know, the baby is all well. But I had a little complications. I started bleeding one day, and I was like, God, what? Well, let me backtrack. I don't even think I told my husband this. I was in the restroom, or in the shower, and I had like a vision that I was gonna have a miscarriage. Like I was passing blood in the vision. Then I would have dreams that I was gonna miscarry this baby. So the enemy was attacking my mind that I was gonna miscarry this baby. So one day I was at home, and sure enough, I started bleeding. So I drove myself. People was taking too long to get here. So my husband, he was over the road. He's a truck driver. I drove myself to the hospital probably about 15, 20 minutes away. I wasn't in any pain, but it was like a horror movie. By the time I got to the hospital, my pants were soaked. Went to the waiting room. They made me wait in the waiting room, first of all. And the chair was soaked. Everything was soaked. By the time I got to the room, got in the gown, it was like a murder scene. Blood everywhere. But still, they did the ultrasound. The baby was still alive. The baby was still breathing, alive, attached, and everything. So did that, contacted the doctor. She was like, well, you have an incompetent cervix, so you can't hold the babies. So she suggested that the best thing to do was to have a surgery to get something put into place, is to keep the baby in there for how long it's supposed to be in there. Went through that surgery, and my husband, he was still over the road. So I was there with one of my friend girls. She drove me to the hospital. So I went through that. And that was when all hell broke loose. That was when I came unhinged. That was when, you know, after that miscarriage, I didn't want to live anymore. I did not want to live anymore. I didn't understand. I was believing God. I was trusting God. They did the surgery, but the baby did not survive the surgery. So after that, we were in the hospital. Johnny made it to the hospital, and I told the nurse, I said, I want to go back. I want to go back. I said, I don't believe that my baby is still dead. I didn't believe it. Because I just knew if I just believed that God, he can raise my baby up. I didn't care what The doctor said, I didn't care what the ultrasound said. I said, take me back. Take me back. And I was reading 2 Kings, and where the Shunammite woman, she was blessed by Elisha the prophet to have, God used him to bless her, to speak a word in her life about having a child. She didn't have any kids. So I was reading that story over and over when the son had passed away, and she ran to the prophet. She ran to the man that God used to tell her about her blessing. So she ran to Elijah, and I just kept reading that story. I said, God, if you just do this one thing, just this one thing, I knew that he could do it. I said, but even if you don't do it, I still trust you, because I know that you can do it. So I went back down to the ultrasound building, or to the ultrasound station, and it was still no heartbeat. I said, okay, God, I still trust you. I still trust you. I said, I don't understand, but I still trust you. I still trust you. They rolled me back down to my room. I couldn't even look at my husband. I just dropped my head. I couldn't look at him. I couldn't dare tell him that there was still no heartbeat. But we got through that. We got through that moment in the hospital. And it hit me when we were leaving. I said, we're leaving here without a baby again. I was broken. I was crushed. I just did not understand. So we went through that. I got myself together eventually. Well, God got me together eventually. But I suffered depression. After that miscarriage, the enemy tried to take my life. He tried to destroy me. He tried to destroy my marriage. He tried to take everything that he possibly could from us. He tried to get me to take my life. I contemplated suicide. I thought about taking my life, but the angels of the Lord, the army angels of the Lord came down and saved me. So I thank God that I've overcome so much. I've overcome poverty. I've overcome molestation. I've overcome infertility. I've overcome depression. I just want to encourage you all to don't give up. Whatever promises that God promised you, remember, he is faithful and just to keep his promises. So make sure that you just keep your faith, keep your hand in the hand of God's hand, because he will never lead you astray. He will never leave you nor forsake you. And I pray that you guys are blessed by my story, with me sharing my story. And that's it. This is my story.